Hey there, Minnesota Vikings fans. You are listening to the Purple People podcast. We are live this week. My name is Kyle West. I'm accompanied by the man with the plan who's in charge, Adam Carlson.
You're giving me a lot of credit here, and I'm not sure I'm worthy of that, but I am here.
You get all the credit, sir. And we also got Slacker. I'm going to call you the Slacker this week. Kyle Smith.
That would be me, and that is appropriate.
I am also a slacker. Adam's the only one that's on top of the game around here.
It's been a struggle for me. It's been busy times, with Vikings going on, The Walking Dead happening. Not a lot of time for myself, but I do have time to sit down and talk about Vikings football for the second time this week.
Oh
yeah, I was a guest on the Donut Club podcast, which is Adam Patrick's podcast. He is also on the Viking Age now. He's the new co-expert over there, so if you're ever hungry for more Vikings podcast and want to hear me talk about really strange things, then the Donut Club podcast might be pretty good for you.
If you're hungry for more Adam Carlson, we got your hookup.
Oh, no.
I thought you were going to say
like that.
Hungry for stranger things, and my eyes got big. I was like, whoo!
No. Anyway, I'd like to welcome everyone to episode number 229 of the Purple People podcast. And every time I say that number, I stun myself. That number is massive. This one's titled Back to the Future.
It only took us 229 episodes, but I think we finally got the best show title yet. That is amazing.
I don't think any of us disagree that Back to the Future is one of the most fun movies ever made.
Oh, it's in my top 3 movies of all time, favorite movies of all time. Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, and for me, Evil Dead slips in there too. That's my top 3.
I like it when movies are so good they make it in other movies, like A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh.
the two little seconds where he's in there, he's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "What is that?" Nothing. That was perfect.
So I've never seen that one, and I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah, you should definitely be okay with that. We have some people in the chat. We've got XKT here. He's a regular. We got Tommy Gunn here, who's already opening things up, but I'm going to wait to start reading some of these comments because they're a little directed. So let's get going.
Yeah.
The quick hits. Harrison Smith is already ruled out for Sunday. After last week's game, he was seen leaving the locker room with a brace on his ankle and crutches. There is a worry that his season is over.
Yikes. The injury bug continues for Minnesota.
Yeah, that's one that you really don't want to have out of place either.
No, he's I think he's probably the best player on the team. And that's a really huge blow to it to have him not on the field for us. That hurts a lot.
Well, even if Harrison Smith is ruled out, there's a chance that Adrian Peterson could be ruled in the future. He has stated that he will return in 2016 if the Vikings are still contenders for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did.
I know you guys have some comments on that one. I know Mr. Smith's pretty heated. I don't know. I think I'll let you take the floor on that one.
Oh, no, I'll save that. Well, so you can tell by my body language and my demeanor that it's very positive. It's going to make its way into the latter part of the show. But yes, Adrian Peterson did come out and say that today, and immediately, it's controversial when the ESPN app goes off and you have a bunch of analysts that aren't affiliated with the Vikings talking about it, and they did that today, and they broke it down pretty well. But like I said, I'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, I had an opinion on it too. I'm not quite as harsh on it as what you guys might be, but we'll save that.
Yeah, we'll discuss more on that a little bit later on here. We had a rather cryptic tweet from Randy Moss on Twitter talking about how he tried to help Laquan Treadwell. A lot of people are reading into this as he failed the workouts or he refused the workouts. And right now, that is all hearsay. There's no way to know exactly what happened. Maybe the team denied it. Maybe there was some sort of incident where things didn't work out. There's a lot that's left up in the air with that tweet. So right now, it's not a good time to point fingers about it, but it is something to kind of keep in the back of your head and be like, what was he talking about?
Yeah, I thought it was I thought you wrote a really nice piece on it too, Adam, over on the VikingAge.com. Should plug. Yeah, I like it, but you made a really good point where you're like, you don't know what exactly it was. It could have been as simple as the Vikings saying that they didn't want him because they wanted Treadwell to work with the wide receivers coach and get used to the way we're going to do things, and maybe the way Randy does it
Right,
is a
maybe
little
just
bit
scheduling
different.
didn't
And
work out, or whatever.
yeah, it could be scheduling conflict, could be a lot of things. I mean, of course, coming just speaking from a fan perspective, and from Randy Moss being one of my favorite Vikings of all time. I mean, of course, I would love him to work with all the wide receivers on this team, from Thielen to Diggs to Patterson. I think that's someone that I would love to see be around the facility. But if it doesn't, if that for whatever reason, and again we're speculating, but if that was to maybe potentially hinder what the team is trying to teach them and what they want them to do, then I can understand that too. Like there's a lot more to this than just the little bitty tweet. I kind of wish he wouldn't have even tweeted it out. You know what I mean?
Right. I was kind of curious why he even responded to that fan. That didn't quite make a lot of sense to me at all. But what can you do?
Yeah, maybe he'll elaborate on it a little bit further.
Or maybe he won't, and we can just all drop it.
Mm-hmm. That was probably the more likely of the two.
He says Chris Carter didn't want Randy Moss to outdo him again. Oh. I tell ya. Tommy Gunn's leading us into our next one, actually, in the chat. He says, let's be honest, if the Vikings manage to make the playoffs and Zimmer has an eye patch, that would be so hardcore.
Yeah.
And it absolutely would be. If you saw the photos of Mike Zimmer at practice with the players, just eyeing them down with that patch over his eye, oh, man. I would not want to be on that guy's bad side.
I mean, think about this for a minute, guys. If you go back a couple years, if you're turf toe Tavares Jackson and you don't want to go play for the team, how can you look Mike Zimmer in the eye, the one eye with this patch while he's out there doing his job, and be like, nah, I can't go. You better have like a broken leg or a torn. You better have Teddy's knee if you're not out there practicing for this team.
Hence
right now.
my anger over the Adrian Peterson article, and I'm going to tie that in there too. Can you imagine saying that to that guy? I know it was cool. Speaking of Mike, since we're talking about him and his surgery and now his recovery, I listened to a phone interview that he did. I don't remember who interviewed him, but it was on the Viking app the other morning, and he was, getting questions about the game. He was getting questions about his health, all that good stuff. But he took time out to say, "Hey, look, just as anyone, I'm sure Teddy Bridgewater with his mother having cancer, breast cancer." He would be a kind of a spokesman for that. Mike said, "Hey, if you ever have any floaters when you're looking around in your vision or anything you notice is odd," he's like, "please go get it checked out." And I like that he took time out, because we all know he's like a no nonsense kind of guy, and he rarely comes around and says anything with a big smile on his face or whatever else. He's usually straight to the point. But he was very, very much he made time out of that interview to tell everyone, "Hey, if you have something going on, go get it checked out. You're not too big, or you don't have to have too much pride to see a doctor." Because I'm sure for him, he was like, because they asked him and said, "Well, you wanted to go, right? Did you listen at home?" He's like, "No, I watched at home." He was still wanting to go do these things, but I thought it was cool with the way his attitude and his demeanor is, that he let everybody know, "Hey, anyone can go get this done, and it can happen to anyone. Don't think that you're bulletproof."
But if you guys thought that Zimmer was going to give anyone any answers about his eye condition during the presser today, this is pretty much what he said. "The doctors talked to me about something, but let's talk about Jacksonville, huh?"
Which, I mean, hey, come on.
That's the most Bill Belichick answer I've ever heard. I love it.
And it's a personal medical condition. Like, as a fan, I don't need to know that. That's none of my business. Like, what happened with his eye, that's like a medical thing. Like, we don't need to know that. Why would the media even ask that?
Because they're the media. They're trying to get any kind of quotes and anything like that they can, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We had some practice squad shakeup. Sean Hickey was let go from the practice squad. They brought back Cedric Thompson, the safety. This is that kind of shuffling that we end up talking about every year. It's to drop and pick up. It's to have that extra floater body on the payroll. And we're going to be seeing more of it. So we'll be announcing somebody else next week, I'm thinking.
We like it because it fills time on the show.
Absolutely. And we get to say some names that we don't usually say. At least these guys, we can pronounce theirs.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is what's important. I got some good Chad Greenway news. Chad Greenway was named the Minnesota Vikings Community Man of the Year for the third consecutive year and the fourth time since being on the team. He is now eligible for this year's Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
Man, if there's anybody you want to be like, it's Chad Greenway, isn't it? The average career is what, 2-3 years, based off of every single player. The guy's been in for a decade. He's played at a pretty high level for most of those years. Some seasons were off. Not too bit by the injury bug, and you do all this stuff in the community. Congratulations to him, man. He's a good example and a role model, and a damn good player.
Good template for what you want to have, on the Minnesota Vikings, like for a kind of player longevity and like you said, Mr. Smith, like doing good things within the community as well too.
He's such a leader on and off the field, and it's great to just have his presence there with the team, knowing the awesome stuff that he does. I try to write about some of the stuff he does, but I don't even get to a lot of it on the Viking Age because it's always something. He's always got something cooking over at the Lead the Way Foundation.
It's a good problem to have.
And finally, Fran Tarkenton has said he's not giving up on the Vikings' playoff chances. He sees a win next week, and he's going to keep on trucking from there. Gotta love Fran.
Like Fran. No, like Fran.
Absolutely. So let's get to the call-out from the chat because this is going to be fun. Tommy Gunn has a message for Mr. Smith.
Let's hear it.
He says, boy, aren't we glad we didn't cut Sherrills at the beginning of the season? Total waste of a roster space. Any player can do the punt return job.
I read that. Touche. Didn't expect that to come from Adam Thielen in the game, which we're going to get to here real quick. It bothers me when you have to have a player who is like the ninth corner on the team, and his only specialty is return duties. Luckily, thank God, we've seen some sort of progression from Cordero at wide receiver to justify if we pay him a little bit in the offseason. Obviously, we know he's an amazing kick returner when he gets the ball. But, yeah, I'll take that one. I like it when people call me out, so thank you, Tommy. That's a little taste of my own medicine there.
There are those players that you just don't know how important they are until they're not there. And Sherrills doesn't really contribute as a cornerback very often. His contributions on special teams.
What does he have over the course of like the last 5 years? What does he have, like 2 muff punts, if that?
Yeah, it's not many.
He's very, very smart on whether he's going to call the fair catch or if he's got a lane, he'll take it. He almost always gets positive yardage. And, yeah, like Tommy was getting to, he was greatly missed in this game because this is one of those games that we're about to talk about it. You can lean one way. You can blame a referee on this game. You can blame an offensive lineman for getting a penalty. But ultimately, we were one play away from being in this game. I won't say winning because I'm not a psychic, but it's a play like that. It's a momentum shifter. And unfortunately, it wasn't in our favor when that happened because it was so deep in our own territory.
We got J-Do-Z in the chat here, someone who usually is having night classes but was able to make this show. Welcome to the show.
Nice.
Always good to have some fresh blood every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. We missed you guys last week when we had to record over Skype because Google Hangouts was gone. We missed
shout out to everybody for putting up with that, by the way. Mm-hmm. I mean, it happens. This is why we push the YouTube thing so much, so we don't have to go back to Skype, which is, in this one, in my analogy, our cassette tape from way back in the day. We can stay up to date. So now you can push that.
Yeah, we were really missing the interaction in a big way. A big way.
Mm-hmm. But it's just not as fun. It's really not as fun.
No, it's not.
Thank you guys for being there, though, and actually listen to the show and all that good stuff, because the worst thing that you can do, I mean, I guess it's a good thing. It's kind of like in life. If you can't control it, there's really no reason to stay too upset about it. We didn't know this. We've been doing the Google Hangouts thing for a lot of episodes now. I guess Google got overloaded, so if you were wondering why, now you know. I didn't know that was possible, but Google Hangouts and I guess all their servers were overloaded last week, but here we are.
Yeah, it was quite a mess. But let's get into talking about that game We got the Minnesota Vikings falling to the
therapy session time.
Yeah. Falling to the Dallas Cowboys 15-17. Of course, the Dallas Cowboys, arguably the best team in the NFL, the only team in the league that has already secured a playoff spot. Under normal circumstances, keeping Dallas as low scoring as the Vikings did, while having just a couple turnovers that made the difference in the game, along with officiating or however you want to see it. But normally, this would be called an encouraging loss against a fantastic team. Yes. But because of the situation the team was in, the record they have, how they're on the outside looking in of the playoffs and the divisional chase, instead this kind of turns to being a little bit of a crushing loss.
This would have been a statement win for us. Honestly, if you want my opinion, just to throw straight into it, I won't count us out of the playoffs. I'm very much turning into Adam Carlson. I will never give up on the team. I used to be like, nope, F it, we're just gonna lose every game, blah blah blah. But I do know that we can win the rest of the schedule based on opponent strength, based on who we're playing, what day, and where we're playing. This would have been a great victory for us, and to show that even though we have all these injuries, which I believe, and we were talking before the show started, a lot of people were saying this should happen, this person should get fired, blah, blah, blah. I believe that the injury bug has gotten the best of us. And I know that's a pretty obvious statement to make, but you just have to look at who we have playing. And I'm not going to take any credit away. Some of these guys are playing their heart out. Sam Bradford in particular. It's even on Snapchat today. They ranked all the quarterbacks, and the guy said, hey, I want to tell Sam Bradford every game, it's okay, it's not your fault. I get it. But I just think the injury bug is causing us to play outside our element. Like Tommy Gunn said, we have people returning punts that don't normally return punts. We're having to make do with what we have, and we were almost there. I mean, we were this close. So like we said, we don't like to say that losses are good, but we were in this game, and that's the best team in football right now as far as record goes.
So let's go into talking about Sam Bradford, 32 of 45 for 247 yards and a touchdown in this game. There were plenty of drives early on where the offense stalled and couldn't find their way through the red zone into the end zone. And being able to convert some of those plays would have made a huge difference in this game. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. Still, Sam Bradford had a pretty accurate day, and a mistake-free, he didn't turn the ball over. Sean Hill attempted one pass for 6 yards. And let's give away my donkey of the week. It's whoever said, let's have Jerick McKinnon throw a pass. Whoever said that this is a great idea, let's have this happen. No, never again. I will be very pleased if I never see this come out of the playbook again. Bury that deep, deep, deep away.
See, this is what I'm telling you. Those Wildcat plays stress me out. I've been saying it. Those other plays where we do a flea flicker and Sam's throwing the ball or whatever, so it's just a snap to Jerick and he just does a straight run. Cool. But I will never, ever disagree with you on this, Adam. That was awful to watch.
Oh, God. It was brutal. He almost threw a pick.
It's too risky. And we already shoot ourselves in the foot enough, like I was saying, because of the injuries. Don't give them any extra chances to capitalize.
Oh, that was rough.
Offensively they struggle. Offensively, they struggle enough as is that you can't risk turning over like a possession like that. Like you really have to, for this team to operate, they really have to maximize the most of every possession that they have on the field. And that was a little scary.
I will tell you this:
I want to see no more
today. After looking around, when I should have been the class that I'm taking now for work, we have computers at each desk, and I should have been paying attention to my student handbook, and I was looking up Sam Bradford's stats today at work. You know that he is,
of course,
number 2 in the league with completion percentage. Do you guys know the number and the person that he's behind?
Tom Brady.
71.2% completions. Drew Brees is in first with 71.4. I wanted to throw that out there for all the people that, because when the last play of the game initially happened for the 2-point conversion and it went high, the first reaction is, "What are you thinking?" Sam is not the problem. 99% of the time, minus the Detroit game, Sam is not the problem. So He's doing well, but you guys notice that too? Adam said, 32 of 45? You see how horrible the rushing attack is, that we have to throw the ball that many times? It's sad.
There were still 19 carries in the game, which isn't too bad, and the team averaged 4.6 yards per carry, which, by usual Viking standards, that's awesome. I know it was only 87 total yards, but Jarek McKinnon got 9 carries for 41 yards. Matt Asiata, 6 carries for 30 yards. Sam Bradford even got a nice little scramble in.
Whew. How many of your guys' hearts sank when he took off for that run?
I honestly didn't expect him to move as fast as he did.
It's bad enough when Teddy runs, and I was thinking, like, man, he's so small, he'll get clobbered. He had the concussion last year, but I saw Sam running, and I was like, Sean Hill. Oh, God, here we go, Sean Hill.
No. Let's shift over to the receivers, and one of the guys that kind of disappointed me this game, he almost got my Donkey Award, was Kyle Rudolph. Rudolph saw 12 targets in the game and was only able to haul in 6 of them. And when he did, it didn't seem like he was fighting exceptionally hard for yardage. And I understand not wanting to do that on a team where it's so depleted by injuries, holding yourself up, leaving yourself open for hits. I get that. But for a guy as big and strong as him, you think that he'd be able to push forward for a couple more, or, with the soft hands he has, he should be able to haul in some more passes. But even though he's having one of the best seasons of his career statistically, I'm struggling to see the huge benefit right now.
Yeah, you don't forget, too, there's a lot of fingers to blame you can point in this game of if one person wouldn't have done something or would have done something. Kyle Rudolph had a touchdown go right through his hands. I mean, we lost by 2 points. That's a game changer right there. It's possibly a game winner. I was very, very upset when we had to settle for a field goal in that drive.
Tommy Gunn mentions that the Vikings were behind only the Patriots in interception percentage because Bradford doesn't throw picks. And he's right. It has been a great season for not turning the ball over for the Vikings on offense. Let's talk about some more of these receivers because there are some great ones. Guess who caught all the targets thrown his way? Stephon Diggs, 8 of 8 for 59 yards. Every game that happens, Stephon Diggs impresses more and more, and he looks like a gem that the Vikings just absolutely got because everybody else was worried about an injury or a small school kind of thing. I don't remember if he was a small school guy, but I think he was a small school guy. I'm not sure.
Maryland.
Okay, no, he wasn't then. But it had to be the injury then that dropped.
Where's Maryland? Can you point it out on a map?
I can because I lived in Virginia, but you don't. I don't know. Maryland's not really big for too many sports. I mean, yeah, it was an injury bug, like you said. He was like one of the number 1 rated receivers out of high school.
Yeah.
Just got injured in college, but yeah, he had a good game.
Hasn't been too bad. Adam Thielen had 9 passes tossed his way, caught 7 for 86. He's another guy that's just absolutely emerged in a huge way. And before the season, a lot of guys were putting him on the fringe as a guy that was or wasn't going to make the roster. And in our minds here, I don't think any of us on our projections left him out.
No. Well, I've always been a big fan of Adam Thielen's work on this team, but even I will admit to being surprised as to how good of a receiver he's turned into for this team. Like, he was always kind of a guy that I thought would be, core special teams. He'd be able to jump in and make up a play or two, as kind of a backup relief guy. I didn't expect him to turn into I'd say a vital part of this offense.
A borderline
he's
starter.
catching. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does, the continued progression of him, and what will he do next year for this team.
Because you don't think of you don't think of Adam Thielen as a number 1 receiver, but just take it back to last year. I think it was the Green Bay game to win the division. Special teams, you count on him to convert when we were doing a fake punt. He's got a couple of magical plays under his belt. And honestly, and it took me a while because I had to actually look this up. I didn't know what it meant when you say a possession receiver. He's kind of a possession wide receiver too. So he does all these good things, which sucks because we have to poop on him in a little bit for special teams. But for his story to be undrafted, to do what he does, I think he's more than solidified hey, I belong on this team. Don't even think about cutting me. Because I consider him one of the top 3 receivers on the team. being at the third spot, could be interchangeable for that game. Depending
Tommy Gunn says that Adam Thielen is Greg Camarillo 2.0, not flashy, but always solid. I think that's fair.
I like it.
I think he's our number 2 receiver on the team right now. I think it's Diggs, Thielen, and then probably Patterson in that order.
KT wants to know if we think that Stephon Diggs can top 1,000 yards this season since he is 194 yards away.
Absolutely.
It seems viable. Especially if he stays healthy.
I'll tell you why I think he will. We play Jacksonville and we play the Bears. They're out of playoff contention. So one of those is going to be at home. I think Jay Cutler's done for the year. I know I'm speaking about an offensive player, but they're pretty bad. And I think he can make up that yardage in just 2 games alone. And he's got 2 in between there when we play the Colts and the Packers. So I think he's more than going to get over the 1,000-yard mark this season.
If he stays healthy, he stays on pace.
1,000-yard receiver.
What's that?
Is Sidney Rice still the last Vikings 1,000-yard receiver?
That's correct, Adam.
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
7 years ago. Good Lord.
That's rough.
There was a time, a little fun fact, speaking of Randy Moss, is that when he went to Oakland and he had that horrible year in Oakland, but he still had 1,000 yards receiving, there was a long time that he was the only 1,000-yard receiver that the Raiders had.
I believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was Moss's down year was still just better than anything they had for a long time after that.
Otherwise, we saw some decent numbers here. Charles Johnson was targeted 5 times, caught 3 of them. Cordell Patterson caught 2 of his 3 for 10 yards. Laquan Treadwell got thrown the ball twice, but couldn't haul in either of them. And Matt Asiata caught a pass, but went backwards 3 yards.
He tried.
Matt Asiata doing Matt Asiata things.
Vikings struggling to hold on to the football. 3 fumbles during the game. 1 of them lost. Sam Bradford and Cordero Patterson both had some fumbles. Luckily, the Vikings were able to recover those. Unfortunately, Adam Thielen was not able to recover his.
Fortunately for that play, we were super close to our own end zone, and it didn't go very well for us. So
no,
we gave points away instead of putting more on the board. Uncharacteristic. If you guys didn't watch the game, this is a very, very weird turnover. Adam Thielen was actually on the ground, but he was still moving, which, if you ask me, that's why it was considered a turnover. He fell backwards. The ball came out of his hands, and it looked like it just popped right into – I don't know who the Dallas player was, but it just popped right into the other player's hand, and it was a very, very odd turnover. It was very smooth once you watched it on the replay, but, man, it was weird. I had to see the replay before I thought, man, that's a for sure turnover.
Yeah, it's hard to know where possession is these days in the NFL because it's all kind of left up to doubt, Mm-hmm. If Thielen would have been able to grab that, hold it in, and hold it, no matter whether the other player was holding it or not, it would have been Vikings football. But because he got both hands on it and wasn't able to get control of it, it ended up going to Dallas. And I know that's a play that a lot of Vikings fans didn't like and they called out the refs for, but honestly, I saw that one as a turnover on the field.
Yeah, and I'm not too mad about, Adam Thielen over that one as well, too. I know some people were ready to crucify him online and in social media over that. And, yeah, like you said, it happens. It's a football game. Stuff like that happens. And it was kind of a fluky, odd little sort of play that happened. So, I don't know. I'm not going to be too hard on him.
No, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 fumbles that were recovered, by the way, were by Everson Griffin and Eric Kendricks. And that's no surprise since both those guys have speed, power, and a motor. So
they're good.
No shocker there.
They like to football.
Let's move over to the defensive side of the ball where Everson Griffin led the way with 6 total tackles and 1 hit on the quarterback. 8 total tackles, and 1 hit on the quarterback.
Weren't we just talking about how Everson needed to have a bounce-back game?
Absolutely.
I think he did. I think he listens to the show, and I think he did.
I hope
we knew he had the motor and the determination and the ability. He just needed an outlet. And let's be honest, getting to Dak Prescott through that Dallas Cowboys offensive line ain't easy.
Isn't that a Vikings thing to do? Oh, you have the best line in football? Oh, okay.
I think Danielle Hunter didn't get that memo because he sacked the quarterback twice, got 3 hits on the quarterback, and had 6 total tackles. That kid's a freak.
Doesn't he lead the team in sacks? 9.5, right?
I'm not sure right now.
I'm almost positive. I'll look it up while we're talking here. Yeah, someone said it not too long ago, and I quoted it, and I wish I could say who it was. But they said he's going to be eventually. It was Mike Zimmer. He said that guy's going to be the best player on the defensive side of the ball very soon. I believe it.
It very well could be.
The
only other player to get a sack during the game was Brian Robinson.
Mm-hmm. And I was just going to say, not to take anything away from his performance, but it almost makes you wonder if going into next season they plan on having more of a competition, between B-Rob and he just said his name. What the heck was it? Danielle Hunter. More of a competition on that, on that spot over there.
Our chat has verified that he does lead the team with 9.5 sacks.
There you go.
Awesome. You guys rock.
See, we got fact checkers now too.
Yeah.
That's nice and scary both.
I'm looking at the sacks right now. So Everson Griffin is in second with 6, and then behind him we have, if I'm reading this correctly, is Linval Joseph with 3. So it's not bad, man. That's crazy that he leads the team in sacks and he's not even a starter.
Well, he's so athletic, and they can plug him in on so many different ways to get to the quarterback that it's fun. Let's talk about one of the other problems here is that the Vikings weren't able to defense a pass during this game. That's kind of concerning.
Yep, and the one that made me the most mad was another score. It was a touchdown. Xavier Rhodes played about 10, 11 yards off of Des Bryant for whatever reason. I don't know if he didn't have the coverage read right or what, but that was one of the easiest touchdowns that Des has ever had to make, and he fumbled the ball while he was trying to, get possession of it, and he still got a touchdown out of it. So I know Xavier Rhodes was probably upset with himself about that. It's just those so many little things in this game.
Yeah, that was way too big of a cushion when you're that close to the end zone.
I think Dallas might have been on, the 15-yard line, if that, maybe the 14.
I want to say closer than that even.
Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe it was a 12 or 11 I'm thinking of. It was close, but that was one of those that frustrated me. It was like, it's their number 1 receiver, man. What are you doing?
Tommy Gunn wants to remind us that Danielle Hunter is only 20 years old.
That's freaking crazy, man.
Which it's scary to think about. It's nice to have Captain Munnerlyn back, that was for sure.
We like Captain. We're all big fans of Captain. He's an underrated part of this team.
Absolutely. Otherwise, we've got special teams where Cordero Patterson returned 3 kicks for 80 yards. He had one that went 35. As far as punt returns, those were sloppy. We don't want to talk about those. My game ball went to Kai Forbath. 3 of 3 for field goals. 1 from 48.
48?
When he lined up for that 48-yarder, I don't know why. I was still in dread mode. I was still sitting there thinking, oh, man.
Same.
And then it just went right on through, and I was like, huh, okay.
Kind of like Dumb and Dumber. We'll take it.
We will take that. And also, I want to talk about Kai Forbath going to the Children's Hospital. I mentioned that on Twitter and said that how he's already, acclimating to the Minnesota culture, and he's going with teammates and going and doing these charitable things, and it's awesome to see that. It's just that Vikings culture taking over, and I don't know much about him before this. Maybe he is that kind of guy away from the Vikings as well. But it's great to see him hopping on the same train as the Vikings and getting in on those activities.
He wants that job next season for this team.
Hey, it's your job.
So far,
to
it's looking good.
Mm-hmm. He still scares me on kickoffs. His opening leg strength on kickoffs, sometimes they fall a little short, and you get some extra returnage out of that. But I still think at some point that's going to burn us. But otherwise, for field goals, you can't complain. You can't complain on field goals or extra points. So that to me is a good trade-off to have.
Not bad, not bad. And then you guys can have this one.
My donkey went to Jeff Locke. What a terrible game. Didn't I just give him the game ball last week, too? I got to stop doing that. Good Lord. Punters are people, too. No, go back in your hole, Jeff Locke. What are you doing?
Go back in your hole.
Gosh. I couldn't believe how bad this game was. So a friend of mine back in Virginia, she texted me that she's a huge Cowboys fan. He's like, dude, you guys need a new punter. And I was like, you watch your mouth. He's having a great year. This game sucks. So
he's normally so good. The first punt, he put the backspin on perfect, but it came up short, and that backspin just ate him up. That second punt, I have no idea what happened.
I think one of the later punts in the game, we were pushed back to our end zone. I don't think it was a 3-and-out, but it was very, very much a short drive. We couldn't get anything going. We punted. You could see Cordero Patterson so frustrated. He was slamming it down. He might have thrown out some profanity out there, but just they took another backspin, like you said. I think it was around the 50. And you can see Cordero getting frustrated. He's like, man, can we give these guys any better field position? Jeff had an off day, and he gets my donkey for this week. It was uncharacteristic based on the entire body of work he's shown us this season because he's had a lot of improvement, had a lot of good games, but this was not the one to watch. This is not the game to watch film on.
Yeah, he had my donkey for the week, too, and I really don't need to elaborate much further than that. It was pretty much just a down performance, and it was funny how we just both praised him the week before.
I wrote an article on the Vikings talking about how he's having one of the best seasons ever, you know?
Typical Viking fashion for that to happen.
Absolutely. Get some praise, and then boom, there it all goes down the toilet.
Praise him, and it just goes right to the head.
I'm gonna
inflate the old noggin.
I'm gonna give a shout out to my boy Everson Griffin because he had a bad week last week. It was kind of the opposite of what Jeff Locke was doing. We're like, hey man, we need your presence to be felt. He led the team in tackles. He had a crucial forced fumble, and I know he doesn't lead the team in sacks. And I think it was right on the money, like I said about Mike Zimmer. Daniil Hunter is going to take over. And not only is he starting defensive end, but he's probably going to be the best defensive player we have. He's just such a freak. But this game, Everson Griffin made his presence felt. And although there wasn't a sack recorded for him, he had a lot of hurries. And like you said, he had a quarterback hit as well. And he had a crucial forced fumble. So I was very happy to give
Don't forget about fumble recovery as well.
Fumble recovery as well. Thank you. So he was all over the place in this game. And it was good to see him out there in vintage Everson Griffin form.
So,
and I'm gonna.
You giving away your
I'm
game
gonna fit it in.
Then?
Yeah, I'm gonna fit it in right now because I really don't know where else we'd do it. I gave my game ball to Mike Prefer for this week, who filled in for Coach Zimmer to take over the the coaching duties, head coaching duties for the team. And I thought that it was very much business as usual on offense and defense, and just like throughout the course of the game, there was nothing that really ever came up. I thought that. It was ran very, very, very well. There was a dip. The dip in special teams was interesting. That you take your special teams coordinator and you move him to other duties during that game. So I don't know if there's a correlation that you can draw between that, or if, the fumble and the poor punting would have happened with him coaching, special teams, or if that would have happened regardless. But I thought he did a really solid job of filling in for Mike Zimmer.
Absolutely, there's a chance his phone might ring for a head coaching gig. You never know.
It very well may. I mean, guys, there's a reason why he's the only coach that was a holdover from the Leslie Frazier era on this team. Like he's good at his job.
To get back at Chris Cluey.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was asked in the post game. I was very excited to see what he had to say. I think, like you said, we don't count any losses a victory, but this was one of those moral victories. I guess we played very good against the best team in football.
Absolutely, pushed him to the limit.
Mike Prefer had no intention of taking any credit for anything. He
which I like. I like that a lot.
He took his first opening statement to wish Mike Zimmer well and said, "I wish I could have got you a win." Super humble, super classy. He took the blame for the loss, and they said, well, do you hope this opens up any doors? Do you think this does? He's like, that's not – I really don't care. He's like, I don't think that he doesn't want to be a head coach. I think if the salary and the right team and opportunity came, sure, he'd take it. What coach wouldn't want to do that? But he said very much so. He's like, that's not why I did what I did tonight. That's not what I was planning on doing in the future. So I loved how he handled it. He was very, very awesome in the way he handled it, even though we lost. It was good to see his attitude about it all.
Well, hey, he's a smart guy. He knows how to give a good political answer. And not that I totally believe him that when he says that he's not worried about it. He's worried about Jacksonville. But that was also a very smart political answer, unlike what Adrian Peterson said, which we keep teasing that we're going to get to that. But no, it was.
We're almost there.
dude. Yeah.
So next week we're probably going to get some messages on Twitter from our friends from Jacksonville, since the Vikings are traveling down to Florida.
I look forward to it.
I still say Denard Robinson's the best quarterback they've ever had. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
It should be a really interesting game. The Jacksonville Jaguars are struggling in a big way. Blake Bortles is turning into a guy who's just taking far too many chances with the football. And their defense is just allowing far too many points to be scored against them. Jacksonville was a team that I kind of pegged to make some progress this year and move a little bit closer to the playoff picture, but instead they're regressing. It's interesting to watch that. But that doesn't mean we should count them as a loss against Minnesota. I think this is still going to be a closer game. I think Minnesota's going to try to keep the score low, and I'm hopeful they can walk out of Jacksonville with a victory.
You know what's crazy is I learned this week, so they do the power rankings, and I think we're in the middle of the pack now because we're at 500 or whatever. I think we're 16th. It said there's always a good thing. It's always a good feeling knowing you can bounce back against Jacksonville, and I laughed. And then I did more research. They run a defensive scheme like Seattle. I had no idea about that until this week, until it was pointed out in a video I watched. And to see them struggle because that's really where they focus. I know they have playmakers on offense. They have a decent, capable quarterback, but they have a ton of playmakers on defense, and that's the thing that shocked me the most. I looked at the record. I had no idea they were 2-10. So
they're kind of going by the Vikings' way of building a team. They're getting all these really athletic linebackers and players on their defense. And they already had Blake Bortles in place, who they were hoping would be their quarterback of the future. And for a while, it looked like he had that chance, and now it's back down to I'm not sure.
That's the worst problem to have, especially when you already have seen in a short amount of time that he can throw a lot of touchdowns. But caveat to what Adam was saying is this guy throws a ton of picks. He takes a lot of risks. You got to be careful because that's how you're going to lose a job. That's how you're going to wind up being a backup. And you don't want a guy who got drafted number 3 overall to be your backup. No team wants that.
Well, I think when Teddy's ready to come back for us next season, that we can send Sam Bradford for a first-round pick to Jacksonville.
Oh, you don't want him in Jacksonville. I think that team would be really good with Sam Bradford.
Oh, God, no. No, don't say that. Don't say that. Oh, no.
I think what they need to do is they need to work out a way with Sam Bradford to get that salary down a little bit this year, keep him on the Vikings, and then if Teddy's good to go, you got to have a little bit of a competition, and if he's not good to go, then Bradford's the man. That's the way you got to work it. It's got to work that way.
I think so.
I read this in class today, too. This is on my phone, not the government computer, so I'm okay with this. But it's
did you do any class while you were in class today?
I did.
Or was it just all Vikings?
I did, but the problem with the way we do things is it's on a computer screen in front of us, and then it's on a PowerPoint slide, and I like to speed through when I study. So I can read the lesson in 10 minutes, and he has an hour projected to talk about it. So, whatever, man. You got to teach faster than that. But
government.
I read it today. Yeah, don't even get me started on that. The whole episode for another podcast. So I read it today, and Adam, you can tell me this. You're the writer of the group. So are you, Kyle, but Adam's the main guy for it. Mm-hmm. I hate when people write an article and they don't give sources, or at least say, I have a source that's very close with. Adam Schefter does it all the time. A source close to the Vikings organization, blah, blah, blah. He's got boys in every team and every front office, whatever.
Right.
But there was an article out there today. I'm not sure if you guys read it. It said, what we hear now is Sam Bradford's already acquired the starting job for next year. And it was based on the fact that he's playing well and that Teddy's not going to be back. Said it's his job to lose. So I don't know what you guys have been hearing or if you've heard that same thing too, but it bothered the hell out of me because there was no source mentioned at all. It's just like the rumblings that we're hearing. I'm like, where are you hearing this from? Did you put your ear in a seashell? What did you do? Like that's the thing that bothered me the most about it today. But you were talking about Sam and shipping him away, and I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay.
Someone out there had enough of a source and enough of an inkling to write an article about it. So
here's why I think that's bullshit. When we're in preseason, Mike Zimmer isn't even comfortable telling the media who's going to be starting in week 3 of the preseason.
You're right.
Do you really think that if Mike Zimmer A, would be thinking forward to next season at this point, or B, would be telling people that Sam Bradford is going to be starting for the Vikings in 2017. Like, at what point do we think that like, no?
The only people that would be talking about that right now would be Rick Spielman and the other people up in personnel, up in the executives, and I don't see. I don't know. I don't see that conversation even happening right now.
It was weird. I couldn't believe people put a stamp on that and said that already. And there's the other factor too, that not only because Sam's playing well, but you gotta think it's going to be an open competition if Teddy comes back in time, or whenever he does come back. I couldn't believe I read that today, but it was out there and it was published today, and I'm gonna try my best to find out.
Is it by a reputable source that published it, or was it kind of a?
It was on one of my Viking fan pages that I and on Facebook.
I bet you it's 24/7 Sports.
I don't know. I thought I unfollowed them. One of those guys, one of those pages, one of those Viking pages that keeps posting every other team's news but ours.
It's got to be 24/7. Oh God. I know I shouldn't be saying that out loud on a show, but I can't stand them.
I unfollowed them a while back. I don't think that was the same one, but that's a page that I do remember. I asked, I said, "Why are you posting this? This is Oakland Raider news. This has nothing to do with the Vikings."
Right.
But, I don't know. We got off subject. Kyle, loop. He said we were sending Sam Bradford to Jacksonville.
Man, I do what I can. I'm with you, though. When it comes to sources, when it's something like that and there's no source listed, I just assume that it was like a janitor at Winter Park who was cleaning and thought he overheard something. I'm being serious right now. Like, that's meant to be funny, but, like, was it just some, janitor receptionist at Winter Park that thought they overheard something? And then now this is out on Twitter, and so someone writes an article, and suddenly it's news. Like, you have no idea where that comes from.
Clickbait, man. I'm telling you.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust any of that.
They got your ad revenue. That's all they care.
XKT says, I only followed 24/7 because they had a blue check mark. I like it. Good stuff.
How do we get the blue check mark? What do we got to do to get the blue check mark?
Got to get that blue check mark. That's what we need.
Verified.
I think you can Photoshop that in.
Oh,
I'll figure out how to Photoshop
we
that in.
We should do that. Oh.
Definitely. Okay, so we talked about Jacksonville, and next we got social media questions, and hopefully you guys got those pulled up because I do not.
I've got it, and we're going to go a little slower because I'm going to read from two sources on that. So there was a controversial call at the end of the game, and it was a very blatant blow to the head of the quarterback from one of the Dallas defensive ends, I think. Well, 2 is the last number. I can't read it. The picture is kind of blurry, but Kyle West posted it. And he asked, "What's your take on the final play of the game?" And this started a conversation immediately. After any primetime game, they'll do a post-game analysis, and they'll even do it on Sports Center. They'll talk about it since it's fresh and it's a current thing to talk about. And this generated a ton of conversation. This was a missed call from the referees. There's no if, and, or but about it. All the analysts have said that, former referees or the guys that are over the referee committee that they always call him. I think his name's Dean Blandino. He said, "Hey, that was a missed call." So I'm going to read some of the comments on here because there were a lot of spirited answers. So I'm going to hold this up here for you guys. I'm going to go down in chronological order. Chaz Green says, I'm not even blaming the blind refs. If we had a strong O-line, we wouldn't be in that situation. I really feel like punching TJ Clemmings in the face. That'll make a man out of him. So that was a spirited answer. I liked it. Samuel Calcutt says the worst ending to a great game we had. Too bad. Why couldn't we move the ball like that on the last drive the entire game when we did in the red zone several times throughout? Number 1 D in the league for sure. This is very frustrating. That's pretty much the words out of my mouth. It's been kind of a common theme the last couple of weeks is to play catch-up. When earlier in the year, we would score enough points in every avenue to where we didn't have to do that. And we don't have an offense built enough, strong enough to play catch-up all the time. So I like that comment a lot. Thomas Buse says, missed call, but me and my friend kind of agree. We probably wouldn't have gotten the 2 anyway, but we'll never know for sure. Andrew Emery says, how can you not call that when it's I can't say that out loud. Sorry, we'll have to edit that one. How can you not call that stuff not that damn hard? This is why we need full-time refs, right? That'll be the solution. That'll fix everything. And one of my favorite comments, and we had a couple of the same things, so we're gonna end that one and go to the next picture that I showed. David Shaw said, "Well, he's not Tom Brady, so which that generated a lot of comments. We feel like if it was a more of a high-profile player, Aaron Rodgers, so to say, now Cam Newton's been complaining about it, maybe it would have been. But if you guys missed it, Sam Bradford immediately went to the ref, and he even talked about it in his postgame, which he was very classy about. He said, hey, did you not see the guy hit me in the helmet? The ref said, because this is in Sam's words after when he was asked about it in the postgame press conference, said, you didn't get hit in the face. So
what bugged me about that is that when you watched it like live on the field, like you can see Sam go to the ref and he's making that motion and talking to him, and the ref pretty much just keeps walking, like straight face, didn't even want to hear it, just like bam, he's just gone.
Well, he's probably so used
that was
whining
irritating
to them. Oh, face mask! How you touched me?
Well, the only thing, and I will not side with the ref on this because they need to start reviewing stuff like this because this was, I won't say that it's a game winner or loser, but this is a game-changing play that was missed. They need to start reviewing stuff like this. And the only thing I can say is if you look from when it was first called, it was from the right side of the field, which is where the referee was, and Sam was hit on the left side of his body with the player's right hand, which is on Sam's left side of his body. So he may truly not have seen it. But this is one of those things where we have all the technology, and it's blatant enough out there now, hey, that was a missed call. You should have got that. Then why even have all these reviews? You know what I'm saying? This needs to be changed. This is definitely something that they need to talk about. They're talking about getting rid of Thursday night football, which I'm all in favor for player safety, since that's what the league preaches. This is another thing that they need to talk about in the offseason. And when it's within 2 minutes and you have a potential game-changing call from the referee that's missed and it's that obvious, it needs to be reviewable. I don't know what you guys think, but that's how I feel about it.
Here's my solution for that one. I think when it's in the final 2 minutes of, let's say either before the half or the final 2 minutes of the game, I think that there needs to be like an outside NFL spokesman that's reviewing every play from like the NFL headquarters, whatever, that can call in an instance like that and overturn a call on the field.
It would help. I mean, all eyes on the field that you can get.
Because we have HD fancy cameras. I don't know if Adam froze up. We might have lost Adam here on the call. But we have all these HD cameras that are everywhere. And it is, I understand that you want to have, like the referees calling it in real time. But when you do have all these camera angles where you can look at in crystal clear HD happened, it is frustrating when there's a missed call like that. And if we're talking in, like I said, the final 2 minutes of the game, why not have someone who has the benefit of all these additional camera angles be able to come in and overturn a call like that?
No, I'm not frozen. I hate that the game ended that way. There were so many opportunities for the Vikings not to put themselves in that position. So to have it all rest on whether or not an official makes a call, I can't be that guy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it does come down to they should have scored more points earlier. They should have done a better job and scored more points earlier in the game. So
that's why I chose all my words carefully for what I was saying earlier. I don't think this is a game loser or winner for us. I think it would have been a game changer. That gives us another opportunity to convert on 2 and then go into overtime. Who's to say that Dallas doesn't kick our ass, or return a touchdown, return a kickoff, or they just drive down the field in 2 minutes and score and we're done. I can't say that. But both sides of that, I think we should have gotten another chance to try for 2. And you're right. Kyle Rudolph had a chance to score a touchdown. There were a ton of penalties we shouldn't have had on us because we didn't play good enough. And Adam Thielen muffed a punt close to our end zone. I mean, take your pick. It's any one of those. It's very frustrating. I'm yelling, loud noises.
Now, you're talking about Thursday night football, and let's be honest. The game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys was the most watched game in Thursday night football history.
Which is weird because we were,
really
5 before we started? So I wouldn't say that we're out of it, but that tells you that we are a team that people want to watch. And it was in Minnesota, highlighting that brand new awesome stadium and all that good stuff. That was a very cool stat. Very, very cool.
That's going to be a rough situation because the NFL makes a lot of money off those Thursday night games.
Why can't they figure a way to schedule them like after a team's bye week? Like they can't They can't do that better than what they do currently. Like, that would seem to alleviate a lot of the problems with Thursday night football.
Is Thursday night set up so each team plays at least once?
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, they have to have teams playing every week. Now, I get you can open up the season on Thursday night football. I get that. Then you get into week 2, and then there's going to have to be 2 teams making a short week. At least that. And then the next week will come, and you got another 2 teams that take a short week. And it's kind of frustrating that way because you can't really work into the bye until after week 4.
What we need is an extra day of the week. Does the NFL have that power to give us an extra day off?
Friday night because they don't want to compete with high school football. And they don't want games on Saturday night because they have that deal with NCAA not to double up on those games. So pushing it all the way to Thursday, man, that's weird.
And honestly, I think if they tried to put an NFL game against a college game, college has big, huge fan bases that will support those teams.
Absolutely.
And I think that college football would cream NFL football in the ratings. Like, more people are going to watch college, so you can't go head to head with that.
I think the setup would be perfect if we left Sunday and Monday games, but just even the other night, it was the Jets and the Colts. The Jets are awful. Nobody wants to watch that. And like you said, we can't put it on Friday. There are a lot of college games that get played Friday, and if it's a ranked team, especially if it's a top 10 team, and you have the Jaguars and the Browns playing, or the Bears and whoever else, nobody wants to watch that game. It's terrible. So, but the thing that makes me the most mad is they preach player safety so much, but you actively hear these guys bitching out loud. And it's a good time when they bitch about stuff like this.
It's valid.
I don't have enough time to get healed for this game. And they said it last week, not this week, but the Thanksgiving game. They said it, they asked Sam Bradford, they asked Alex Boone, they asked everybody, we don't have a choice. We have to play. So you just have to struggle through it and do the best you can. I think it's just another way the NFL shows its hypocrisy there.
Now, I could see Tuesday night football because it's not that far removed from the other days of the week to have football games. There's still plenty of time to prepare and some time to heal up. I don't understand why Thursday was the night that was picked.
Because it sounds good.
Fun fact, when the last Tuesday night football game was?
Oh, no.
The Minnesota Vikings playing the Philadelphia Eagles with Joe Webb. And Michael Vick was the quarterback, and it was too snowy on Monday. So we played on Tuesday. The Eagles were winning their division, and we brought out Joe Webb and won. I know because I have that game saved on my phone.
Oh, jeez.
Joe Webb with the longest, what is it, rushing touchdown for quarterback in Vikings history.
Oh, that's God. Crazy. Is it? I don't know that one. I need to look that up. I need you to send me that link.
Yeah, it was from that Thursday night game. I'm pretty sure. But fact check people in the chat room. Find us that stat. And I'm pretty sure that was Joe Webb on that Tuesday night game.
Fact checkers, get on that. But right now, I got a rant to go on because I'm pissed off, and I've been saving this the whole show.
Is it Adrian Peterson time?
Adrian Peterson, bold statement of the week. You're soft, bro. Go home. Don't come back. I'm sick of you. I've been sick of you. We don't pay you enough money to sit on your ass. It is so frustrating. So let me start this out. We said earlier, right? My phone goes off in the middle of this class today. I glance over. Vikings running back Adrian Peterson says he will come back if the team is in playoff contention and still in the hunt. Says there's no point for him to come back if we are not in postseason contention. What? I had to take a double take. I said, did you really say that? Of course, Adrian Peterson's done a lot of stupid things, and he said some things that are questionable. This is by far the one that pisses me off the most. You have a scandal for child abuse. You say that the team doesn't back you, even though we were forced because of your stupid actions to put you on the commissioner's exempt list, even though we tried to play you for the New England game week 3 of that season. That was not our fault. That was your wrongdoing. So he sits out a season. Does he get paid? Yes. So, cool. He comes back last year, leads the league in rushing. Oh, 30 years old, he's still awesome. Great. Comes back this year. Injury bug hits him again. So, I'm sitting here thinking, would AP be having a good season with the line the way it is? I don't know. Would he be more productive than Jerick McKinnon at Asiata? I think so. Maybe not astronomically more. But what I want to get down to, and I had to Google this, I had to double check this twice. I know his overall salary for years and years, like it goes into an average. This season, and I asked Siri this 3 times today because I thought it was 12 something that I read. It said that Adrian Peterson is getting $7,750,000 this season. I understand that he did not predict, nor did he intentionally tear his meniscus. But you're the best player on our team. You're a Pro Bowler many times, and you're a future Hall of Famer. I don't want a guy on my team whose attitude is, well, if we'll go to the playoffs, I'll play. You should want to, and you should have the mind and heart of a champion. And this is why I say you are soft. You should be aching to get back out on that field and help people and help them win. Even if we played the 4 worst teams in the league to end the year, and we were 4-7 right now. This is so frustrating for me. And I don't care what people's argument are. Well, what if he gets hurt again? Do you not think Sam Bradford thinks about that when he stands behind this faulty line every week? Well, I don't know. I'll play if we're going to the playoffs, but I don't want to get hurt. That's the most bitch move I've ever heard from a grown man, and I can't believe he said it that way. Poor choice of words. I have lost all little bit of respect that I had for AP. I don't want him on my team. You know what I want to do? I want to clear that cap space. Go find a running back in the draft. He's going to be way cheaper, and go buy some offensive linemen. I'm done. I'm done with Adrian Peterson.
I gotta say, I lost a lot of my respect from him when he didn't apologize to everybody for what happened. He didn't seem to really own up to his actions in any way. And then when he came back, what was his first move? Does he talk about how great it is to be back with his teammates? No. Does he work things out so that he can have a little celebration for his return even? To placate his ego? No. What does he do? He goes to management and demands more guaranteed money. And guess what? That worked out wonderfully for him because he got his guaranteed money this year.
It's ridiculous. I know that this season isn't like 2 years ago when he has a negative eye on him. Obviously, this injury wasn't predicted and it wasn't intentional. I understand that. I don't wish ill will on anyone. And we play the Packers twice a year. Come on. I don't wish ill will on anybody. But like I keep referring back to, if you're going to be a Hall of Famer, if you go ask Chris Carter or Randy Moss or go ask any Hall of Fame running back, because there's plenty that are above Adrian Peterson, running backs aren't soft. They want to plow through everyone every single chance they get. And for you to say, oh, well, I'll come back if we're relevant, you could make the team relevant. We're the worst team in the league in rushing right now. Asiata and McKinnon aren't going to be mad if you come back. They're going to be happy to have you contributing. The fans want to see you out there. The fans want to see you come out and make the team better. It's such a selfish and such a cowardly thing to say. And I was just thrown off because 4 years ago when he tore his ACL, he had the heart of a lion. You know, he was damn sure determined, I'm going to come back and prove the whole entire world wrong. And he did. And nobody expected him to have that season. There are people who never had an ACL tear who never had a season that good. But for him to say this stuff like that, and like what Adam's saying, it just keeps mounting up for me. The older this guy gets, the longer he stays in the league, the more selfish and more egotistical he is. And I don't like that. I want a team player. I want more Chad Greenways and less Adrian Peterson's on my team.
My major issue with that statement alone is that it puts him up on a pedestal compared to his other teammates. He's too good to play against these other teams because they're not in contention, so what's the point in him playing? But all the other players, the ones that have been working hard all season, they've got to go out there and play.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong. This is exactly the kind of thing you think in your head. You think, boy, I could come back and contribute in a big way. Maybe we could make a playoff push. That'd be pretty great. But if something happens, maybe I should be played on the safe side and rest my knee through the rest of the season. Or something like that. But you don't even say that until you're close to coming back and you know what the situation of the team is. Why even predict it this way?
And we know he's close to being back because he's been sprinting in front of the media and reporters recently. He's got to be able to come back either this week or next. And we predicted mid-December. I mean, he could be coming back for the final quarter of the season. But like you said, this is ill-timed. Everything about this statement rubbed me the wrong way. I can't get over it, and I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. If you're going to say stuff like that and you represent this team that I love, I don't think you love this team as much as I do. And I know that you've done a lot of amazing things for it, but right now, that was such a I don't want to play it for not the playoffs. It made him seem like the rest of the NFL and his competitors, and like you said, even his teammates are beneath him. It was very, very rude. So, I don't know, man. I'm done. That was a very, very stupid thing to say.
Absolutely.
Mic drop. Everybody's silent. Oh,
I can't disagree. I added what I thought about it, and yeah, I don't like what he said. I understand why he feels that way, but you just don't say it right now.
Especially not in the state of the team either. I know what he said couldn't have been said at a good time at any point in the season. We could be, 12-0 right now, but we've had so much crap to deal with this season. You can go ahead and say that too. Like, good God, man. As if we don't have enough stuff to worry about.
XKT in the chat says Adrian was never known for the right choice of words. His statements were always,
Ugh.
It's a very fair point. And it's also, I think you have to kind of look at this too and go, this is Adrian, and he is a superstar, like a big superstar on this team. And for his entire tenure with the team, he has been treated differently than everyone else.
Yeah.
Like when you go up to training camp and you watch the team practice in Mankato, everyone else walks from the field to the locker room except Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson gets on the golf cart with 2 security guards, and he gets carted to and from the practice field. I mean, this is kind of like what he has been treated differently, and so his comments were stupid. I don't. You can't defend that. Of course, you want players that want to be on the team playing, whether you're in the playoffs or whether it's just the final week of the season. Of course, you want him out there, but at the same time, I think you also, not to defend him, but you do got to look at it from just the way he's been treated by this team. You can kind of maybe understand why he would say something like that.
I understand what he's saying, but I don't like how he said it.
You said it really well.
I don't want him to re-injure himself because the assumption is, just like with Teddy, he'll be back with the team next year. But I don't care who you are, man. Everybody's expendable. And I said that earlier, and I revised my bold statement in there. Barring a huge pay cut, especially with the way he's talking now, I don't want this guy back. Now, I know a lot of people are against that because, he's a Hall of Fame running back. He's been very, very good, more than he's been bad in his career. I get it. But under the assumption that he's coming back, I don't want the guy to get injured either. I would never say that, even though he says stupid things about the team or, associated with the team. But it's just not a good look for him, man.
I want him to come back, have 3 or 4 great games, and increase that trade value, baby.
100%.
Sometimes players say really dumb things that I don't think that they understand what they're saying because they don't have to. Remember when Randy Moss had that quote about, I play when I want to play?
Randy Moss has so many dumb quotes.
I know.
If you're looking for a
this
guy
is kind of...
Yeah, he always was putting his foot in his mouth. I will admit that on the field, Randy Moss has been an amazing player throughout his career. He's got such athleticism and natural football ability, but he's a bonehead.
I mean, the 2 highest scoring offenses in the NFL was the 98 Vikings and that Patriots team. And what they have in common, Randy Moss.
Randy Moss sure can run those 9s. He can run those 9s all day. But that's all I have for this week. You guys have anything else you want to add?
Check out the YouTube page. Give it a like. We need to get that number up. I'm going to promote it as soon as we get done here. We've got to have your guys' help. Thank you for the ones that have subscribed.
We're up to 328, so we're almost a third of the way there. And I know it's going to take a while, but we still want to grow this organically. We want some likes from Vikings fans. We want to get this up on YouTube Live instead of going through Google Hangouts and all these other methods of getting to you guys. So hopefully we can get that taken care of. You can see my and Mr. Kyle West's stuff on thevikingage.com. You can get some news there. If you're into The Walking Dead, the big mid-season finale for Season 7 is on Sunday. There's a lot to talk about, so head on over to undeadwalking.com. Check that out.
I hear there will be zombies this week.
There will be some zombies, possibly in the water.
Bold prediction. There will be zombies on The Walking Dead.
And I will tell you, there will be some named character deaths. There will be. So make sure you tune in, see what's going on.
I have to start a little war before we get off of here. A couple of my friends at work are talking about all these shows that I haven't watched. Lots of big-name shows, Breaking Bad, House of Cards, Sons of Anarchy. Walking Dead is one of them. I think I got through one season. One of my friends says, don't watch it, man.
You got through the good season.
He's like, nah, don't watch it, man. It's really boring after that. Don't watch it. I was like, oh, my heart hurts for my fellow Purple People podcast guys. They would not want to hear you say that.
It's not for everybody. I mean, if you can't tolerate some episodes of character development, then it's not for you. It's not a non-stop action-packed thrill ride. There are times it'll slow things down to nothing to get you to, learn some stuff about characters and feel some emotions. And guess what? Not everybody wants that.
I just wanted to tell you guys, it's not going to distract me because it's on my list and it's going to get done, especially since I got that new Fire Stick. It's going down. I'm a year behind. Don't laugh at me, all right? I know those came out last year.
You mean you're going to watch it on Netflix?
Oh, I could do either or, actually. That's a very true statement.
But you can always check us out at Purple People Pod on your Twitter machines. Head on over and say hello. All of our personal Twitter accounts are in the description below. We got the Survival League still going strong. I don't believe there were any strikes again last week.
Oh, you guys are good.
And I caught some flack for picking Dallas in the Survival League last week. But you know what? When you got a feeling someone's going to win, you got to go for it. You got to. And someone's got to knock Craig out of there. I don't want to ship it internationally, so someone please beat Craig. But on that note, be sure to head on over to the Purple People Podcast on the Facebook page. We're going to be trying to do a lot more there. We're going to be putting up more content on a regular basis, adding more to the discussion about Vikings football. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, I just got my computer back, so that will help out. I can do stuff normally again.
Tommy Gunn, Season 2 of The Walking Dead, 1 minute previous episode resolution, 40-minute character development, 1 minute cliffhanger. That's not untrue. Season 2 wasn't exactly known for its action.
Was Season 2 the farmhouse?
Yes.
Yeah, the farmhouse season was rough.
It was a bit slow
for people binge watching. People binge watching Walking Dead, just like
I feel like I'm doing.
We make it past season 2. It gets better.
All the work that you guys do, if I don't watch it, I feel like I'm doing a disservice. Not to say that you guilt tricked me into it or you peer pressured me, but it's kind of like it's a staple of the end of the show that we do all the time. I have to watch it. I have to get caught up.
And if you can push through season 2, you'll be all right.
I love it because, my favorite show ever, you guys know, is Entourage. There was 8 seasons. I can't stand when they cut shows so short or when they don't do as good. So it gives me a lot of stuff to watch. So that's good.
90-minute mid-season finale. Sunday's going to be great because hopefully we're going to get a big Vikings win over Jacksonville. We're going to get an awesome mid-season finale. We're going to have a fun episode of Talking Dead. We're going to have some Ash versus Evil Dead. We're going to have lots of cool stuff going on. And we are going to be here next week to discuss it with you guys. So in the meantime, stay classy, Minnesota.